Happy Friday. It's the 24th of May. Let's get started for the poll report. Let's dive into a little bit of everything. So we had a bit of a stumble yesterday. Market sold off quite a bit. Looking at the SPY, high around 533, low around 525. If you're in my flex room yesterday, if you're in my equities on demand trading room yesterday, I mentioned 525. I'm not surprised that we got there. I am just surprised that it took NVIDIA earnings, a little bit of a head fake. I don't know if this was accurate, if I can get this up before opening bell. Let's take a look at the heat map here, see if I can go 1-day performance, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to show it. Yesterday, and this is about accurate too. This is the week performance from last week to this week. NVIDIA up post earnings, obviously. It was fading that move a little bit, but it was enough for me to grab some profit. I think I talked through this trade in my session with A1 Trading, where I just did a credit spread. I had a 1030 by 1025 bull put spread, and then I did a bear call spread as well. They're both deep in the money. I collected $7.85. I closed yesterday for $6.85, protected a dollar profit. Just another way to trade it. It was a little bit easier. Certainly not a lot of cash outpour for that trade, as opposed to spending close to $90 on some type of long strangle or straddle type position. So NVIDIA's up, everything else was down. Energy down, Home Depot down. We had some other earnings this week. I'm watching Snowflake going into next week. We're trading at 154. Here's 155.25 pre-market. I'd like to see if we can push a little bit lower by next Friday. I've got a 162.50, so we push into possibly 150 or lower, which is where my chart alarm is. That would be some nice profit on that particular earnings play. Deirdre's, good morning. David, good morning. Nice to see everybody. Good morning and happy Friday to everybody. All right, let's take a look at the currency strength futures dashboard. Euro's up this morning. Took a trade in my flex trading room. Euro dollar long. So far, so good. So yesterday we had Swiss on top just by a little bit. Things were still pretty contained on the Forex side of things. Today, still pretty quiet on the old volatility front. JPY weak, Swiss weak, dollar weak. Totally fine with all three of those, obviously. Euro up. Everything else is pretty clustered around that 0 to 10 mark. And we'll see if we have more of an expansion play, possibly some risk on flows. Futures up this morning. Here's the dashboard. So Dow Jones futures up a little bit. Dow had a big sell-off yesterday. One of the worst days. What did I see that this morning? Let's go to opening bell. Dow, one of the worst. This is all crypto related. Pro crypto. Yes. There's rumors that the Ethereum ETF will be approved. Where was it? Anyway, I'll just look at the chart. Dow. So we can go DJIA or DJI. There we go. There. Pretty big candle, right? So from high to low yesterday, you're looking at about a 2.63% sell-off, 1.57 on the SPY. I measured that here from yesterday's high. It was a pretty nice directional day, considering this is the entire week. You're staring at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So clearly the market was kind of resting and waiting to figure out what to do, how to do it post NVIDIA earnings. We had a gap higher, and that gap was quickly faded. So that move yesterday from top to bottom was around 1.57%. So pretty nice move. That's an $8.30 move from top to bottom. Good stuff. I was long volatility. I didn't take any profit. I was only up about 30 to 40 cents. I was trying to get, if I got $1 out of my volatility play, I would have taken profit. But things appear to be fairly contained at this time. But a couple things to be mindful of. We did just take out a low, a low, a low. We did make a slightly higher high than last week. So the probability is we're probably not coming down to 520 today. If we open up at 527, are we going to sell off another $7? Doubtful. The level that I'm watching today right now that's most notable is 525. Once we have opening bell, I will be watching to see if 520 pops up on the radar with the gamma levels. Otherwise, as a 0 DTE, I doubt I'm going to get that trade. But if I could get a decent credit, if I could get like 40, 50 cents for a credit spread out of SPX today, let's go to SPX and look at last week's low. So that was SPX percentage wise. Let me see what this would be. If we go from the low yesterday to the low from last week, that would be another roughly 0.88% to the downside. Let me go SPY and see if that matches percentage wise. It might be a little bit off. So that is around 0.95. So the SPY actually has a little bit more room to go to the downside. So probably not collecting a premium on that. But with the holiday, Monday's a holiday, I could do a Tuesday expiration. I don't know, man. That seems a little iffy. I was thinking if I put in a naked put on the SPY around 520 and see what Tuesday would pay. I might look at it. I might do a credit spread. We'll see. We'll see. I could put a credit spread at the highs for Tuesday. That might be a play. Maybe SPX. Oops. If I put in expiration for Tuesday and throw in a 53.40, 53.45 bear call spread, see if I can cap that move to the upside, and possibly, I don't know, maybe even a Tuesday iron condor if I like it. Set a credit spread up here near the highs and a credit spread down here below last week's low and go out to Tuesday. So I'll take a look at that we'll be live long enough today to take a look at that flow. Let me see if I can bring up my Tasty platform. Yes, I can. And here's what I'm looking at for those gamma levels. So pre-market on the SPY 525, pre-market on the Qs, definitely more lit up to the downside contract wise, 452 to 450. Pre-market levels on the QQQ. Let me log in over here. Get the fat fingers going for my login. Real quick on just a question for audio. How's everything sound right now? I think I defaulted this last week to my Yeti microphone, which is sitting about a foot away from me. If this is more quiet, I'm happy to go back to the louder. It's probably more of like the louder boom mic. It just picks up more external noise. But if this AV is okay, then just let me know. Type in a wire yes in the chat for me. Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, cool. All right, Gary. Good morning, sir. How are you? We've got Mr. Mark here, Welch here, Jacob's here, Chris here, Giza here, Angela. Good morning. And Jacob, good. Okay, perfect. Thank you for confirming. And we'll proceed with the sweet headset. All right, getting logged into my Tasty platform here. There we go. There we go. All right, so I'll take a look at that this morning, possibly an iron condor for Tuesday on the SPY. Let's see, what's the percentage gain if we're going to climb back and take out those highs? 1.41% by Tuesday, holiday weekend. I mean, the premium might be okay because of the time. I'm just curious how antsy the market's going to be Tuesday post-holiday. Maybe it's not. Next week, it's very quiet earnings-wise. If we go to the calendar, let's go to StockTwits earnings calendar. Next week, I want to say there's maybe 100 stocks next week for earnings. It's a pretty light economic calendar. I mean, this week there weren't a ton either. There's only 152 companies this week, but what was the big one? NVIDIA. 27, so holiday. So we have really 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right, just over 100 companies. So we have 25 plus 32 plus 44 plus 3, 104 companies, maybe 105 if I count Monday, but there's no trading on Monday. So we are certainly wrapping up Q1 earnings. Couple notables next week for me: Chewy, Costco, and I'll see if there's anything else that I like. But I have some exposure in both of those. I'm looking to see if my Zoom position, we're trading at 62. I've got a 58 by 55 credit spread. Looking to see if that will close for full profit by next week. SPY, Again, weekly divergence. I talked about it last week, talked about it Monday, said I wouldn't be surprised if the market offers a bit of a pullback. We possibly put in a near-term top. Yesterday's high to low, this week's high to low, let's look at a percentage. So this entire candle, by the way, is yesterday's price action. So yesterday established the high of the day with NVIDIA post earnings, and that was the gap higher. And then the sell-off yesterday was your 1.6, 1.57% move. So that's the entire week incorporated into one trading day. So today we're probably trading in between. I doubt we're coming to take out the high. It is possible that we could take out the low. It's possible. So if I'm going to take a trade for Tuesday, I'm more likely going to take a bear call spread for Tuesday if the credits are decent. It's going to be out of the money, so I realize that maybe I'm only going to get 20 to 30% of the width of that. So if I do a dollar spread, I can get 20, 30 cents for that. I think that's okay. But going into a Tuesday expiration, we'll see how that looks. All right. Otherwise, I'm just cleaning out the portfolio a little bit, getting it slightly more concentrated and certainly more diversified. And yesterday, with a little bit of risk-off flows, bond prices were slightly down. I saw yields were slightly up. So here's the 2-year yield. This is up from yesterday. Go to the 10-year yield. Also up from yesterday. I'm curious if the higher, long-term yields, 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, if we start to see those creeping up towards 5% once again, do we have a similar move? What happens to the stock market if we have 10-year yields above 5%? Okay, if they're above 5%, that was the mark of a big sell-off in the market, and then we marked a bottom once we retreated off that 5% move. This was also when the Fed started to talk about cutting rates. So if we see the longer term interest rates getting greater than 5%, what that's probably going to help with is get us out of that inverted yield curve. The issue is, for the long time in this average window of like 16 to 24 months, we usually see that 2 and 10-year inverted yield curve end up in a recession. So that's the discussion. Is there still talks of recession? Is there a soft landing? Is it a hard landing? Is there a no landing? We don't know. The Fed talk this week did shift things around. We had minutes on Wednesday, and we've been watching this pretty closely. So let me refresh the CME watch tool. And let's go into the big changes in expectations. So June, July expected to be a pause, higher probability. I mean, pretty much 90% in June. That's a pretty much a foregone conclusion coming into June. July, you're looking at 89% that nothing's going to change. September, now we're looking at a pause in September. This has shifted. Not that maybe a week ago, this was about 50% to 40%. And now we're talking the flip around of no cut in September, possibly a cut coming in November. So during the election, by the way, when is the election? November 20th? So we would have the Fed front run the markets, possibly, I think. Let me double check. I want to make sure my 2024 US presidential election. I want to see what date it is. Election day. November 5th. Oh my gosh. Well, that's going to be a volatile Fed meeting. If we have presidential elections scheduled on Monday the 5th, and then we have the Fed on the 7th. Is the Fed that stupid? I don't know. I mean, granted, they're not political, but man, that's going to be a volatile week if we've got an election, good, bad, and different. I don't care who you vote for. It's all a crapshoot anyway. But if we have the Fed the same week, that's possibly our first cut, and maybe even into December, additional cut or just one cut for this year. I don't know. I could see this again shifting right before that official Fed announcement in November. So what has shifted a lot is we've talked a lot about when the first rate cut's going to be. Is it September, November, December? You have to remember, thoughts originally were the market with this big rally we had in Q4, Q1. The market expected 6 to 7 cuts going into 2024. Clearly hasn't happened, right? So instead, what I'm noticing is we go out to September of 2025, we're only baking in about 100 basis points of cuts. This is a big shift. right? The market was looking to be as low as 3%, 3.25% by the end of 2025. Now we're down to 4.25, 4.5. Right now we're at 5.25 to 5.5. That's only a 100 basis points or 1% move over the next year. So if we get one cut, we're only doing 2 or 3 more to get us down to 1%. That's, of course, if the Fed just cuts by 25 basis points, right? Could summer be exciting with Forex trading? Yep, because you've got other central banks likely lined up to cut some rates. BOC, BOE, ECB, those could be some central banks to watch for. We had some hawkish talk out of the New Zealand dollar this week. So RBNZ was talking about cutting rates, but not starting until 2025, possibly late 2025. And the Kiwi's been doing pretty well. Euro dollar wise, dollar index wise, we're probably seeing a push lower. So I believe yesterday's candle, this is the daily candle so far. Interesting. What was the trade I took in Flex? I think I'm still active in the trade. I just put a little daily candle scalp, but yesterday's daily candle did not look awesome. We put in a trade, euro dollar, buy at 108.51 and a stop at 108.08. And let me see. Did we get tagged at that low? Hang on a second. So that low, this would have been, are you serious, dude? Oh my gosh. So if I got tagged in the stop loss, it was right below that low, pop, and then back up. Son of a gun. I'll double check my account to see if that was the case, but I just looked at a little scalp on the dollar. If that was active filled, tight stop loss, it is what it is. But we're still long New Zealand dollar, taking a stab at that one. We're also still short the pound dollar. See how that one's behaving. Better, at least, kind of. So I'm mixed on the dollar basket. I think the DXY is still really difficult to figure out direction. Look at all this chop. Look at all this noise. I still see some, direction for the bulls if we can hold this trend line break. But the big saver for the stock market especially would be a weaker dollar. So if we're going to continue to see higher highs in the stock market, you can get behind AI, you can get behind NVIDIA, you can get behind whatever you want. I mean, most of the market gains, I took a screenshot of this morning. I want to say like 30 to 40% of the S&P's gains is in what is now being called the Fabulous Four. Let me see if I have it right here. Fabulous Four, which is a concentration of about 19% market cap in the S&P, responsible for over 30% of this year's gains. Fabulous Four, that's your NVIDIA, that's your Apple, that's your Google, that's your Microsoft, right? Crazy, right? Super concentrated. But what are you going to do? Participate, that's it. So dollar, if we have a weaker dollar, and I still say this, I'm on my hands, okay, not trading the dollar, on the sidelines, taking a couple small stabs at it. If we're right, cool. If we're not, fine. This week I did have some robots doing some work for me. Let me see here. Perfect Storm should have been good per usual. Flat week on Perfect Storm Pro, 5 pips. It's not much. The original Perfect Storm up 80 pips for the week. Pockets. I'll double check that one. It's not showing any trades closed. It might just be still holding positions. Hypertrend up 1308. Awesome. That's 1,308 pips on Hypertrend. Thank you very much. Obviously curious to see what currency pairs that is, what closed out for a bunch of pips. So if I go history here, Euro Aussie, Euro Aussie, Euro Aussie closed out for a nice little 150 pip gain. Pound CAD, Pound CAD, Pound CAD. That was a big one. 207, 177, 109. So that's roughly 500 pips on the Pound CAD. New Zealand Swiss closed out for a nice win. Aussie Swiss closed out for a nice win. Okay, cool. Hypertrend coming back in a big way. 1,300 pips. Happy with that. And 6-figure ultimate. up 374 pips this week. Ka-ching. Cool. All right. Overall, pretty good robot trading week. Happy. Makes this a nice little bonus. So, all right, dollar index. I'm trading it both ways. I've got my own manual positions also. I'm long New Zealand dollar. I'm short pound dollar, long dollar Swiss, long dollar CAD. Nothing on the dollar yen, Aussie dollar, no trade right now. And I'm still watching to see, do we get above 105.60? Do we get below 103.90? Those are my big levels on the dollar index. So I'm letting robots do most of my trading for the dollar index and see if we get a direction, establish a direction, maybe a summer push, which I usually don't say. Usually we talk about pre-summer pushes, but if we have a summer push, because central bank policy might be shifting, right? If we see a round of rate cuts from all these major central banks, Europe, CAD, or Canada, and the UK, if they cut rates, the dollar might look more attractive, especially if the dollar's getting pushed out, right? Push the dollar out of the Fed out to November, push them out to December. Goldman Sachs said they don't expect to see a rate cut at all. That could be the story too. So is the dollar going to be, the prettiest, ugliest person? I don't know. Is it the cleanest, dirtiest shirt or the dirtiest, cleanest shirt? I don't know. Whatever you want to say. You know what I'm talking about. We'll find out. So I'm still mixed on the dollar. It's a broadening pattern. It's quite tricky as far as the technicals go. To me, this made sense that the dollar got stronger. Really good area to look to then short it. Right? If we don't get to these highs at 108, we don't fill this pocket here at 108, 109. That's understandable. But to me, it would make sense if we have one additional rally to set this thing up, and then we have a better correction on the dollar. Now, what this would mean is possibly the stock market corrects a little bit more after putting in top in Nvidia in the short term, which would make sense to me. Technically, if we had a pullback, dollar gets stronger. We find a bottom here and we rally from there, dollar gets weaker, stock market continues to run with that momentum to try to break all-time highs once again, right? So all sorts of stuff to consider. Donnie, yes, I posted that in my Discord. We have class at 1 p.m. today. Yep. So the plan is equities on demand, 10 o'clock, unless I get a message from A1 Trading, which so far, nothing from that side. But maybe Chandler will email me in the next 8 minutes. But otherwise, yes, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, six-figure ultimate class. We're going to talk about the robot that I deployed. I had to let it trade this week. I just had to let it trade in the live market. And we'll take a look. I probably still have some running positions. I had pullbacks on the Aussie Swiss, pullbacks on the CAD Swiss. I should have had. I know I closed out for 100 pips on the pound Swiss with that new robot. It did wait to hit the profit target at 100 pips. It also took a trade on the dollar Swiss. Okay, so that's what I was looking for. Is I want the entry one to make sure it goes to my profit target as opposed to entry one looking to close out as soon as I have a new fractal high. That's what the issue was. So I didn't have a new version pushed to students yet. We'll talk about that more in class, but we'll certainly review everything today. Okie dokie. All right, good stuff. Okay, so that's dollar index. Let's go oil, gold, silver. Oil. So I would be a buyer on oil if we get above $80 and break this trend line. Okay, because right now it's telling me that if we keep drifting a little bit lower, I could see oil continuing to head down. Either way, if I'm trading oil futures, if I'm trading anything on oil, right now the direction to me would be there's no clear direction yet if we're in this little yellow box. All right. I do think we have more of a directional play here on oil. If we creep a little bit lower, I might just look at a future scalp to the downside. If we break above 80 and we start heading higher, I probably put in some, probably a simple credit spread on oil futures. Something where I would say, okay, we're putting in a bottom. I'll keep my trade out of the way. That'll be my line in the sand. But if we had a little bit lower, I think there's some directional movement down there towards our, $70 support, possibly as low as 65. And then from there, I'm probably buying oil again. Right? So I'll be watching you, oil. My eyes on you. Gold. Gold is at 23.42. Expect some volatility in here after having highs. I talked about this being a potential broadening pattern for a little correction. Okay. I'm still interested in buying a dip. 22.75, 22.70, possibly a pullback to this previous high around 22. Let me find that exact number. 22.35 or so. Still interested in buying dips. Okay, would I buy more? Would I buy this dip? Probably not. Probably not. We could make a higher high. I'm still long silver and I'm still long gold, but I'm also not in a hurry to just throw in a bunch of trades. Now, silver to me looks better. Silver to me, I'm looking to kind of stack back into. So I took some profit on some long calls on SLV. SLV right now, I'm looking at an assignment at 29, 28, and 27. If I get the assignment, I'm totally fine with that. I also did 26. I collected $3.20. This is out for like 60 to 90 days. I think I did 60 days here, maybe in July. So if silver goes up here and it's above all these price levels, we're back up to, let's say, 30 bucks. I don't own any SLV, but I just collect anywhere between $2 and $3 a credit. Okay, but as I noted here, willing to own, because if I do take on 1 to 200 shares or even up to 400 shares, margin wise, tying up about $4,000 on SLV for a trade that if we get a pullback into, let's say, $26 or $25 and we go up to $32, would I be happy making break even wise if I had 29,876, I'd break even around 27.50. If I go 27.50 to 32, that's a $5 per share at 400 shares. Oops. So 400 shares times $5. I mean, I'd make $2,000 on SLV to add to my, $4,000 to $5,000 that I just made this last couple of months on this nice silver move. So I still like silver to the upside. I'm still bullish on silver. I'm noticing on the daily time frame, however, we're getting some divergence. It would make some sense to get some corrections. If we go to the weekly time frame, we still have not, let me print on this here, have we gone high enough? Okay, so a couple things on the weekly chart. We're not showing divergence yet. We're not overbought yet. Okay, so I could still see silver having the room to run and actually making a couple more highs until we see some divergence on the weekly chart. If we see some divergence on the weekly chart. Giza, that was not me. Come on. All right, look, let me take 2 minutes for a public service announcement, okay? I am officially declaring that on my Discord channel, I do not want to have any direct messages anymore. Okay? Meaning this is where my direct messages come from. You message me and then we can have a conversation. So all these private messages I've had, these are followers that have reached out to me first, okay? What I'm doing right now, I'm officially declaring, I said this on Monday, all I want to do in my Discord channel is keep everything here in the free group chat. That's it. If you get a direct message from me, it is not me. All right? I can promise you, any conversation that starts, if you see the word mate, if you see the word crypto, if you see the word WhatsApp, if you see the word asking for cell phones or any contact information, that is not me. Please understand that. All right? I can't say it enough. It honestly is so frustrating. I want to just take down Discord and remove it altogether because I literally have people that join this within the first 10 to 15 minutes and get a message from me. It's not from me, but I can't believe how active these freaking scammers are. So it's really frustrating, but guess where they're not? They're not here in the free group chat. They're not here out in the open. They're hiding in the direct messages. So no, that was not me. Where am I? I'm here every single day on my free group chat where everybody can see what I'm saying, where everybody can see what I'm posting, right? Do I fill up these channels? Yes. This week I posted a video for analysis on Monday. We've got a real-time news going, top weekly pick on Monday. I post all this stuff, right? I did a top weekly pick. Did I not post that video? Oh, fudge, my fault. I meant to post a video from this week. What was the trade? NVIDIA? It doesn't matter. If that's the trade, it's gone now. But anyway, free group chat's where I'm going to be. Okay? Ha ha ha. Yeah. And Nimmer, just like everyone else, you know best. You know better. So it's so frustrating that it happens. But, when I'm out there with the following and I'm out there and I'm live, it happens. So best place to find me is right here in the free group chat. You want to chat with me, just throw it out here. Okay? And here's another thing. If you're in the free group chat, for everybody else, if you're in the free group chat, this is actually me, okay? If you click on this and send a message, that is likely coming to me. All right. But I will never initiate a private conversation with you. Just want to make that 1000% clear. Yep. So Linda says, I get them all the time in Discord. I know. And I mean, to me, it's like, that's why I was so reluctant to start a Discord channel, because I know that stuff happens. That's why I don't want to be in Telegram all the time because I know that stuff happens. I don't want to be in Reddit because I know that it's like, it's it's a murky area, but at least I can keep hopefully the free group chat, scammer free, imposter free, and we can just continue to post and get the content we need. Fair? All right, that's my PSA for the day. All right, all good there. So silver still has some more room to run. We're not at overbought conditions. This is why we talked about being a little reluctant into this week, because the SPY, the Qs, the DIA, all of them had really obvious divergence, overbought conditions with divergence. So I was a little hesitant to go long. All right, so I played it both ways. We grabbed some profit. I did end up taking a small loss in the SPY this week, but we had some good gains overall. We were profitable on Target, profitable on Toll Brothers, profitable on NVIDIA. So worked out okay. And then we're currently in snow for next week, Friday. We'll see if there's some additional follow through there, good, bad, and different. Qs, let me go SPY right here. Take a look at some levels, float this out. So right now, the big level that I see is 525. And contract wise, it's okay. I still see this one here. I mean, 638 on the live market. I mean, it's Friday. I could take a stab at this trade, probably with the butterfly spread. Let me go SPX for a second. So we're up a little bit. Let's see here. If I did, so 52.75. I mean, that's fairly obvious. Let me see what two trades, right? Let me see what a Tuesday expiration 53.50 bear call spread looks like right now, and possibly a 52.75 butterfly. So let me check two things on my broker platform here. So let's go SPX. If I did a 52.75 in the SPX, that would be here. All right, so today is the 24th. 52.75, this would be a put butterfly spread. 52.75, if I just did a simple $5 to $10 or 5 to 10 points wide. This is a 10-point wide. It's going to cost me $130. If I pin this thing at the end of the day, I obviously get a nice payout of like 5 or 6 to 1. That's waiting near expiration. But if I put in, let's say, $125 debit and we fall to 5275, if price falls back into this area, that should be enough of an accuracy that this, $1.20, $1.30 can probably turn into $1.70, $1.80 or so, give or take. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to monitor it. I don't really feel like I need to force a trade today. The trade I'd rather look at is, could I put in a bear call spread for Tuesday and go out to the 28th instead? So if I get rid of this expiration, go to Tuesday the 28th, okay, and then look at an end of day, are we going to get back to all-time highs again? Well, that'd be 53.45. Okay, 53.45. Right now, that's trading at a 6 delta. 53.45 is well outside the expected move. That's going to be about a 95% chance of profit. And I go 53.45 and sell it. Okay, spread it. I get 25 cents. If I go $10 wide, I get 45 cents. Now, here's the good and the bad. Do I want to risk $960 for a 40% profit? Not really. Am I going to take assignment and short the SPX? Of course not. Right? So again, here's why it's not great. My IV rank is, at 10. We saw it as low as 5 or 6 last week to this week. It spiked up to about 17. I think this week I was keeping an eye on those indexes. The DIA jumped up to 22 on the IVX. So we saw a pretty aggressive sell-off yesterday. But anyway, if I'm going to take that trade, here's probably the better situation. If I put in this trade, let me see if I get filled for $1. Right now it's 25 cents on a $5 wide spread. So if this pushes up and kind of threatens that level, let's see. We're trying to fight. This is just what I'm watching on my other screen. I'm just watching this. So two things, right? I'm debating if we come back down to this gamma level, do I get a butterfly trade in there that pays me intraday? Usually I can get, if I do an SPX butterfly, I can typically get paid within the first maybe 1 or 2 hours and grab 25 to 50 bucks. This is the only level I'm really seeing light up right now at 52.75. If I go to the SPY, just get a better context and more contract size on those gamma levels. You can see here 525 on the SPY. So a couple ways I could play that would be, I could get a directional play right now and I could buy a 527 put, try to get it down for a couple dollars of intrinsic value. That's if we have an additional sell-off. I'm going back and forth in this credit spread. If I put in a credit spread here, I wouldn't want to take the fill at 25 cents. That's a terrible trade. But I would be willing to take maybe 75 cents to $1. So if price were to come up, up closer to my strike prices, this all goes from a 6 delta to maybe a 15 delta. Right now, the 15 delta, let's see what that's trading for credit spread wise. Same expiration. Let me put this at like a 16 delta, 85 cents. So I think I could do that 53.45 by 53.50. Let me see if I can take this trade for, let's go 75 cents credit. Okay, so that's going to pend. And that will be out of the way. Right now, that's, a 6 delta. That will obviously shift if price moves higher today. The other play for me this morning, are we going to settle in at 525 by the end of the day? That is the question. I think I'm going to put in a little butterfly spread in the SPX. So that's for Tuesday's expiration on the credit spread. If I did a Friday expiration, and that gamma level was 525, let's see if we can get a little love there. So let me put that back, 525 SPX. So I'm going to pin on a put butterfly spread 525. So move this down to 52. What's that level? 52.75. Yep, 52.75. Okay. So if I go 52.75, I can do a $5 wide butterfly, pay maybe $25 to $35 on that trade. If I go a little bit wider, I'm going to pay $1 and change. But if we pin that level at all today, or we find that level, that should allow me to make some profit. I'm going to see if we hit that level. I'm going to try to take this for $1.15. Replace $1.20. Anything else lighting up to the upside? Not really. Let me try to get $1.25 on this. Okay, filled for $1.25. Now I'm going to watch that for the day. So if price comes down into my 52.75 area, I'm just going to set a chart alarm. If we hit 52.75, that $1.25 debit should be trading at $1.55, $1.65, something like that. So try to grab 30, 40 bucks today if we hit 52.75. Let me set a little chart alarm here. Chart alarm at 52.75. Right there. Boom. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on it. If it doesn't fill, then that's my risk on the day. Right? But I'll monitor that level. If we get down towards it, then I'll be watching. So go back into my positions, go to my SPX. Here's my 1, 2, 3 trades for today. And I'll keep an eye on this. So I'll watch this is the bid. So the natural fill is the bid. Your mid price, if you can get a little bit more. And I'm looking to see, does this fill at, I mean, for me, I'd be happy at like $1.65, $1.75. If I can get 40, 50 bucks out of that little butterfly, that'd be pretty sweet. I'll take that intraday. Okay. All right. I do have a message coming from A1 Trading. So I am going to join them at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So that's going to push my equities on demand session. So I have a I have another session. I have a well, it's a client call at 11 a.m. So EOD students today, micro design demand students. Let's do actually, never mind. I'm good for EOD at 11. Sorry. So we'll do 10 o'clock A1. Let me switch this up. I'm going to my Discord right now. So let's do this. This will be 10 o'clock. I'll do A1 trading. So it's A1 trading. That'll be at 10 o'clock. 11 a.m. Eastern time. We'll do equities on demand to wrap up the week. And then my 1 p.m. class for 6-figure. All right, everybody good with that schedule? All right, so let me let Chandler know that I'll be in class. Perfect. Get that out of the way. All right. Pound Swiss. Nimmer, what do you think I am on Pound Swiss? If you've heard me for the last 2 years, what am I doing on the Swiss crosses? I'm long against the Swiss. So all I've been doing on the Pound Swiss has been holding. So I was leveled in here. Once we started to establish this range, I started buying at 112. I started buying at 111. I bought here at 110, 109, 108. Waited for this to break. I added a couple positions over here in a breakout. So my Pound Swiss has been built. My Pound Swiss is trying to target 119 to 120. Yeah, and Never says, but I'm taking a short. Well, the good thing for me is my timeline. I'd allow your short to get back into profit before I let my long continue to take me to profit. So if you get a pullback, hopefully you don't need a lot, right? So as an example, let's just run through the charts. Are there any signs of the pound Swiss topping out? We're coming back to this 200 exponential moving average, so you could have a little resistance right there. This has been a decent bar count of around 119 bars on the daily, or I'm sorry, weekly time frame, which is pretty big. Do I see any overbought conditions? Not quite. I mean, we're getting some relative strength just near the highs, maybe a tiny bit of divergence there. Hopefully you only need, if you need less than 100 pips of movement. Yeah, I was going to say small pullback. If it's less than 100 pips, I could see that. This pair is volatile enough. I mean, these previous highs at 115, that's 130 pips away. We find a weekly pivot, that's 1487, that's 140, 150 pips away. So I think a pullback for you, if you can get hopefully less than 50 pips and that's all you need, or less than 100 pips is all you need, I think you'll be okay. But I am long. I know for you too. It's like I don't think you pay swap, so you're just taking a trade. I am in this trade because I'm receiving positive rollover. So that's part of the reason I built this whole plan around the Swiss franc as a more stable way to trade the carry trade, because it's a little bit more technically obedient. I didn't want to deal with the drama of the Bank of Japan, which obviously that's been everyone's front and center currency wise since 2022. We saw this crazy run in the Japanese yen, ridiculous pullback at the end of 2022 into 2023. Carry trade again, more intervention levels. I mean, you're trying to trade around what a central bank decides it wants to do with its currency. That's not easy, right? So anyway, long story short, I'm still bullish on pound Swiss overall. Nimmer, hope you get your pullback. 1.1550. Yeah, so less than 100 pips from right now. I think you can get that. That weekly pivot's around 1485. Previous highs around 1500. Yeah, I think you got it, dude. Just don't get crazy heavy. Because if we look at this on the daily time frame, look at all of our supply zones up here. All the supply zones up here. That last big breakout point was at 122. To me, this is a 1, 2. This could be our wave 3. So just don't. I mean, if I'm in this trade, I wouldn't be adding. If I'm short on the pound Swiss, I wouldn't be adding too aggressively, because if this is making its push and this is a wave 3, wave 3s can typically be the stronger and more stubborn pushes, right? So let it print overbought conditions. Let it get to some really obvious divergence on those higher time frames, and then maybe add in another level. So that might be 118, 120 before you add more to it. But longer term, I'm looking at this trade to go all the way up towards like 24, 2500. But I'm taking most of my profit here around 120. Okay, not a big one. I can stomach a 2,000 pip move. Yeah. Well, if you can stomach a 3 to 400 pip move, that might be what you're going to deal with. But just keep an eye on the pivots and the alignments, and if we get overbought conditions, then things will cooperate. That's the beautiful thing about forex trading. Okay. All right, good stuff there. So just a quick recap: gold, silver. Yeah, expect some chop, right? Gold is a little bit choppy up here, probably some sideways movement, pretty well supported at 22.75. If it comes down any lower, I still think it's very well supported at 22.25. Silver, to me, has been outperforming gold, which has been really exciting. I still haven't hit my measure move to symmetry at 35. We are closing above previous highs, right? We closed above this 29.79. To me, this has more room to run. I'm just looking to buy some dips and see how volatile it gets. But if silver is picked back up, I'm looking to see if silver hits my target one, which is 35.75. I'm looking at SLV. SLV is what I'm trading, and I also can look at some SI futures for silver. But SLV, I'm looking to try to take this up to 32.75 or higher. So if this is a larger channel, a couple things here. I measured symmetry there, 32.70, 32.75. My finished move would be all the way up here towards the highs we had back in 2011, which would be, this would be a wave 5. So this is wave 1. This is wave 2. We're in the midst of a wave 3. Pause for wave 4. Push for wave 5. This is why I'm opting to get some ownership of SLV and hold it and not be so time sensitive on an option play. Option play was great. I took a $4 debit, turned it into an $8.55 or $8.60 credit. Happy with that trade overall. Okay. Now I'm looking to do the same thing with a little bit less time sensitivity. Just take some ownership of SLV. I'm tying up roughly the same capital. I had 10 contracts in at $4. That was a $4,000 position. If I take 400 shares at $27 with a margin account, it's going to be $4,000 to $5,000. But now I can sell covered calls against it. Now I can do other things to lower my cost basis, but my core position would be SLV ownership. Okay. All right. So all good there. So that's gold, that's silver. One thing we need to talk about, Bitcoin is trading at 67.3, and we've had a unfortunate rejection candle for the week. If we look at the daily time frame, last few days on Bitcoin have not been great. So we had a nice rip on the break of the trend line. We got up towards $72,000. We've retreated off those levels. I still think it's pretty well supported. To me, as long as Bitcoin's not breaking this low at 56, this is just waiting for a trend line break to see if we go higher. We could have a lot of big news coming out of the ETF space with Ethereum. So Ethereum has been running up very aggressively. This was a pretty easy falling wedge. This went back to the trading battle that I did against Gary. Falling wedge, looking for some buy opportunities. And man, what a great trade that was, right? And then back up towards the highs or possibly higher highs. I think the all-time highs in Ethereum is 4,800. So to me, this looks like bull flag territory, right? It's going to be volatile, but to me, this is a bull flag. If the market gets all excited about Ethereum ETF announcements, cool. Just be careful that it doesn't create a top and then sell back off because it's buy the rumor, sell the news. So be a little mindful of that. But I would say as long as we're holding posture, not taking out this low at 2,800, I'm still looking for upside on Bitcoin, still looking for upside on Ethereum, and I think both of them have room to run. Okay. So what's left for today? So I'll jump into the A1 trading session here in about 12 minutes. I've got a position on for a butterfly with the SPY, did an equal $10 wide butterfly. This is a debit trade. Right now, I put it in for $1.25. I'm going to try to get this thing filled for maybe $1.50 to $1.75. If we fall into that 52.75 gamma level, which is only about 7 points lower, let's go. Let's fill today's gap, and we've crossed that level. This should be enough to give me a few bucks. So if, like I said, if it's $30, $40, $50 today, I'll take it and move on. So far, so good. Chart alarm set at 52.75. We fill the gap that's 52.70, and I'll be happy for a little intraday trade. All right, any other charts, any other questions? Otherwise, come back and join me. Let's take a small break. 10 o'clock, I'll join A1 Trading, so I'll join Nick and the team. My stream will continue, so I'm gonna turn off the poll report right now, fire it back up. You'll see it in the YouTube channel and my Discord, and I'll just join and I'll stream from my channel and push the dual stream. Sounds good? All right, so I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Just come back to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chris Pulver, and see you soon. So we'll wrap the Pulver Report session 1, and we'll be back at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. YouTube.com/Chris Pulver. Okay, sounds good. I will see you all in about 10 minutes. Thanks, everybody. Bye.